This is not going to be super academic, but really, what I want to do with this talk is to give you an introduction to how to listen to Korean music, because actually, as you probably all know, that we always talk about, people like to talk about music as an international language, but really, it's not really that. And it's the time when I really felt that the most was when I started studying Korean music back in 1992. I had a background in, I grew up playing Western music. I played violin and piano from a very young age. I played clarinet in the band. I played oboe in the symphony. And I grew up in a small place in Alaska where I kind of, we were introduced to Western classical music. And I kind of had this idea that like a lot of people, that classical music is music, or and I didn't really even think the composers could be living. So that was the background. And I started studying Japanese koto at the age of 17. Then I was in China at the Nanjing Yishishuyan, the Nanjing Arts Academy, to study guzheng when I was 19, 20, 21. And then I was able to come to Korea after college in 1992 with a scholarship from the National, at the time it was called the National Classic Music Institute, and now it's called the National Kugak Center. And eventually I made this ensemble. It's a new music ensemble that we commission composers to write for us. So Japanese koto here on the far right, guzheng, Chinese guzheng, the players from Taiwan. In the middle, I'm playing kayagum, and then the chango player is a composer who lives in Berlin. So actually, I am the only one living in Asia in this ensemble. Everybody lives in Europe. Well, she lives in Hawaii, and she lives in Frankfurt, and he lives in Berlin. So, and I'm living in Daejeon. So I just wanted to, sort of reflect on my own background of not quite understanding what was going on when I first arrived in Korea. And I came to play the kayagum, and I thought I kind of knew it because, I played this koto first and I played the guzheng second. And I thought I sort of had a background in East Asian music, ethnomusicology, and Korean music was just a whole different thing. It's not like Japanese music. It's not like Chinese music. It's not like Western music either. So in the beginning, I had trouble understanding, how can I listen to this music? And, before I sort of started to understand what was going on, it was difficult to like. I mean, it was a thing and I listened to it, but it was hard for me to sort of connect with it. So today, what I want to do, since we don't really have that much time, but I want to very briefly give you a way into Korean music. And I want to do that through introducing you to the main modes of Korean music. And then if we have time, we can look at the rhythmic modes as well. But we're going to just look at the focus on the melodic modes today. So sort of how to emotionally, how Koreans think, how my teacher in particular thinks about the Korean modes. And I want to do that not just through words, but through actual sound. So I want to start off by introducing my teacher, Chi Song-ja. She's the daughter of Sung Kyung-yeon and Chi Young-hee. They were the first two, what do you call, intangible cultural assets for, her mom was the first intangible culture asset for Sanjo, Kayam Sanjo, and her dad was the first intangible culture asset for Shinawi, which is the kind of Shinawi he did is kind of a staged version of the sort of, shamanic Shinawi. But they all moved to Hawaii and lost their treasure ships. And my teacher moved to Japan. And so she came back several years ago and started to work towards becoming an intangible culture asset in Jeolla in the North Jeolla province. So now she's the holder of number 40 Kayagum Sanjo in North Jeolla province. So I want to start, I'm going to sort of repeat stuff because it's, it's probably new to you. So first I want to let you hear how my teacher talks about it and talks about the melodic modes of Sanjo. I sent along a book to a link to a book to all of you to sort of introduce the Sanjo. Maybe I'll do that first. Let me just introduce Sanjo. What's Sanjo? So Sanjo is the Chinese, the Sino-Korean version of the original word Hottungarak, which means scattered melodies. It's usually translated as scattered melodies. Modes might be better because Jo means mode, but it's usually translated as scattered melodies. And these are put together almost like it comes out of improvisational music. So they're put together almost like Legos. So you have these blocks of melody that are in a certain mode, and they come together with blocks of circular rhythm patterns. It's a little bit, if anybody's more familiar with Indian music, it's quite similar to that. So these two things come together, and then we have Sanjo. So the Sanjo I'm learning right now is 74 minutes long, but I can play the whole thing in 10 minutes as well, because I just take out a lot of Legos and make a new structure. And it's memorized, but you can, each of these blocks are also memorized, so you can put them together sort of in time. It's a way of improvising something that's composed over somebody's lifetime. So I want to just let my teacher introduce you to the three modes, and then I'm going to come back and introduce them to you again, but with music. So she's not going to give you the music, she's just going to give you some words. I've made the what do you call chamak, the subtitles for you in English, and she's speaking Korean to those of you who can understand Korean. So this is my teacher, how she talks about the modes to us.
그래. 그 산조에서 감정 표현을 할 때 우조, 평조, 계면 이렇게 세 가지를 하거든. 그게 가장 기본적으로 깔려 있는 이야기야. 그래서 이제 이게 뭐냐면
I'm just stopping here to make sure that you can you hear and read the subtitles? Is it okay? Okay.
사람의 감성이지. 인간의 감성. 근데 이제 잘 보면 사실은 두 개밖에 없어. 왜 두 개냐면 아주 슬픈 거, 안 슬프고 화나는 거, 이 두 가지. 그래서 음향이라고 그래. 밤과 낮이 있듯이, 그지? 그 음향을, 그래서 어떤 선생님은 여자, 남자 이렇게 말씀하셔. 그래서 여자라는 것은 곡선이 있고 슬픔이 있고 그래서 계면에 가깝고, 남자라는 것은 좀 우뚝뚝하고 이렇게 척 치고 가서 우조에 가깝고. 그래서 선생님들은 좀 장난기 있는 선생님, 이건 여자고 이건 남자야, 슬퍼하는 이랬을 때 우조와 계면. 근데 평조는 뭐냐? 가운데가 있어. 그래서 삼각을 이루고 있는 거지, 그지? 그래서 그 평조는 우조도 가고 계면도 가. 그래서 잘 보면은 그 우조는 좀 이렇게 남성적이고 확 화가 나서 이렇게 긴장하고 뭔가 이렇게 좀 뭐랄까 공격적이고, 음과 음 사이 긴장이 있어. 이렇게 항상 뭔가 노리고 이런 느낌이 있는가 하면 이거를 완화한 게 평조야. 그래, 그렇게 해라, 이렇게 편안하게 주는 건지 우조에서 평조 갈 때. 이제 그 정반대는 계면. 아주 슬프고 힘들어, 가슴 아파, 뭔가 막 하고 싶어, 뭘 바라고 있어, 기다리고 있어. 이거 슬픔이잖아. 이거는 이제 곡선이야. 직선보다는 여성적이고 감성적이고. 그래서 거기서 조금 슬퍼도 좀 참자, 좀 편안히 가자, 그럴 때 살짝 또 평조로 가는 게 여기 있는 거지. 그래서 평조는 가운데 역할을 하되, 가는 길은 우조길이야. 우조길인데 가끔 계면에서 평조로 가끔 갔다 오는 게 많아. 그래서 감성을 그냥 이 슬픔을 버리고 편안하게 뭔가 들을 수 있고 볼 수 있는. 그래서 나는 항상 그랬어. 평조는 맑은 하늘 같거나, 그리고 남자를 얘기하면 선비 얘기를 했지. 그리고 우조는 장군 얘기가 나오더라고. 이런 걸 팍팍 들고 있는 느낌이 들고. 그래서 계면은 좀 여성적이고 굉장히 애틋하게 뭔가 이렇게 기원하고 이렇게 뭔가 뭐라 그래, 품었고 예쁘다 이런 거, 그 여성의 미가 좀 느껴지고. 그래서 우조, 평조, 계면 이렇게 셋을 나눠서 우리 산조는 그 사람의 감성을 담은 거를 표현하고 있지. 그래서 조 가는 길을 알아야 된다라는 게 감정 가는 길을 알아야 된다라고 생각하면 돼. 알아들었어?
네.
아이고 잘했어.
That's my teacher. She seems very sweet in this video, but she's really scary. uh, so that's how she thinks about it. Someone can write their own dissertation on gender in the modes of Korean music. And before I move on to another video, I just wanted to also give you a very quick introduction to, I mean, this Korean aesthetics, which is this idea of 절방미, coarse and simple, unadorned beauty. It's a term coming out of the Taoist texts. Kim Dong-won, my friend Kim Dong-won, translates it as raw beauty. And I just wanted to give you a little introduction to, because we're going to have in my video, we have I got together with my friend, a pansori singer. So I'm going to introduce you to the modes musically, both through the instrument that I play, the kayagam, and then through pansori. So you'll hear two versions of the mode and different iterations. So I think it'll be helpful to listen. But before we do that, I just wanted to sort of, give you the idea of beauty, a different idea of beauty than we have in Western music. The singer is Bail-dong there. He's got a very rough voice. So I'm going to sort of reiterate what my teacher already said, but we're going to do it with sound now. Just go back to the three modes, the ujo, the kemyeonjo, and the pyeongjo. And we'll just watch the first part of this video. This is my friend composer Volker Blumenthaler's composition that I played.
안녕하세요. 전통음악인 최진숙입니다.
I'm Jocelyn Clark from Peje University.
오늘은 조에 대해서 알아보겠습니다.
Today we want to introduce the modes of Korean music.
조에는 우조, 계면조, 평조가 있습니다.
There's three main modes in Korean music. The first is ujo, the second is kemyeonjo, and the third is pyeongjo.
첫 번째로 우조는 힘있게 내는 소리입니다. 어떠한 경치를 가르칠 때 많이 쓰이기도 합니다. 오늘은 적성가를 한번 들려드리겠습니다.
적성
On the kayagam, we usually start the sanjo with ujo mode. Let's hear how it sounds in the first movement of kayagam sanjo called dasurum. As you can hear, its sounds must be clear, transparent, and magnificent.
다음은 계면조인데요. 계면조는 매우 슬프고 어떤 이제 감성적이고 한스러운 색깔입니다. 그래서 계면조는 춘향가 중에서 갈까보다 들려드리겠습니다.
갈까보다 갈까보다 임 따라서 갈까보다 바람도 수영을 안고 구름도 수영 수진이 날진이 해동 풍포람에 다 스여든 동설령 그게라도 인 따라갈까 보다.
In Kayagam Sanjo, we find Keimyeonjo spread throughout the Sanjo. We're going to listen to Jungjungmori.
다음은 평조를 알려드리겠습니다. 평조는 굉장히 평화롭고 시원한 감각의 소리입니다. 춘향가 중에서 방자 분부 듣고 들려드리겠습니다.
방자 분부 듣고 춘향봉으로 건너간다. 거꾸러지고 맷수 있고 태도 좋은 저 방자, 세수 없고 발랑거리고 흥스런 저 방자, 서황무유지 어느 변지전턴 정조처럼 말 잘하고 눈치 있고 영리한 저 방자, 쇳돌벙치 궁주가 냅수 있게 달았어. 성천능우주 저쪽 우리 성승보선용 대신을 수지비로 겁들매고 청창 납자락을 주고자 저잡아매.
Kayagam, it sounds like this.
오늘은 우조, 계면조, 평조에 대해서 알아보았습니다.
So today we listen to examples from Ujo, Keimyeonjo, and Pyeongjo.
감사합니다.
Thank you.